Hello, this is your host Nathan, and today we will be talking about should we ban exotic pets? What is an exotic pet? Exotic, by definition, usually means something foreign or bizarre, and that applies to exotic pets as well. There is, however, technically no strict definition of exotic pets. Different departments categorize exotic pets in different ways. Exotic pets also vary from different region and culture. Some of us folks refer to exotic pets as foreign pets. However, pets like the common black garden ant are considered to be exotic, despite them being native to the British Isles. Other people also categorize pets as any animals besides dogs and cats. According to the BVA, British Veterinary Association, non-traditional companion animals, if you want to say exotic pets in a fancy way, the term excludes domestic cats, domestic dogs, domesticated equids, rabbits, and species that are typically farmed. The last bit is a bit unspecific, but from my understanding, they are farm animals. For convenience, I would also exclude goldfish, rats, mice, gerbils, chinchillas, hamsters, guinea pigs, ferrets, and budgies, and also other common parakeets. However, this exclusion won't affect my general point I will be making overall.
Sure, what about my red-eared slider? It's a very common pet turtle that is bred in captivity for 120 so years and is considered to be a common pet. No, little Timmy! Unfortunately, society doesn't consider reptiles to be domestic pets.
Also, red ear sliders are banned in the UK.
Deal with it.
Sorry for my Gen Z autistic brain rot. Anyway, I believe over time, the definition of exotic pets will shift. However, for the time being, almost any species that is not a cat or a dog would be considered as exotic pets. Graphs. Here are some combined stats I gathered from some surveys I have made. For this data, I have mainly asked unsuspecting bypassers on what they think of these pet categories and telling them what animals can generally be found in these categories. The neutral option was based on feedback from people with neutral sounding or indecisive opinions. It seems that most people treat most companion animals with a positive outlook, perhaps, maybe due to their lack of concern on where these animals are sourced from. On contrary, many of these negative opinions are from people who believe animals should not be confined and should have the freedom to roam. Other negative opinions include they seem to be quite dangerous, or they look disgusting, slimy, hairy, scary, etc. Origin of exotic pets. Most of our common exotic pets I had excluded except for goldfish. With their domestication started between 18050 to 2000, and most exotic pets are kept around this era. Keeping big cats as pets can be traced back to ancient Egypt. And don't forget, they are the ones who domesticated cats before they turned into the fuzzy wuzzies today. There's also a lot of records of private zoos with royal families being able to keep massive collection of animals due to their status and wealth. Wall carvings found in Egypt and Mesopotamia are evidence that rulers and aristocrats created menageries as early as 2500 BCE. Where do our exotic pets come from now, and how they're transported to the UK? UK produces almost zero pets since most native animals are protected and no one has ever attempted to keep them as pets. In fact, we also have a lot of escaped exotic pets, such as the Canadian goose. So most of our animals come from other countries, truly exotic. Now, before we begin, if the real life Nathan Chen is here, I would like the video paused so we could do a live guessing game. Very exciting, I know. Hey, Anyone still there? Hopefully Nathan didn't bore you all out with that stupid game. See, I told him it was a bad idea. Excuse-moi, my confidence and elegance is 100% more real than you could ever be. Anyways, originally, this was supposed to be a journey for me to investigate how these stats are gathered and how reputable they are. However, I do not have the resource or time to do so. Unfortunately, you will have to stick with data reports. Philosophy and biology. Animal consciousness. Consciousness is defined as sentience awareness and the ability to experience and feel, and having a sense of selfhood, which can be applied to many exotic pets. For example, the grey parrot, a common species within the pet trade. According to Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness, near human-like levels of consciousness has been observed in the grey parrot. However, the topic of animal consciousness poses a number of difficulties. Human brains are unlike any other animals, and we simply do not share the same understanding as most other animals. Problem of other minds. Also, animals don't understand human language and cannot communicate their experiences with us. Denial of animal consciousness can also imply that we can simply treat animals like machines. Thomas Nagel, What is it like to be a bat? Argued that we cannot experience how animals understand the world, no matter how much we understand their brain and behaviors. Researchers also argue that consciousness in mammals arise because of the neural cortex, and therefore they argue that consciousness cannot have risen in animals without a neural cortex. Animal consciousness itself is a whole debate on its own, and unfortunately we won't be covering too much on that topic. However, it still plays an important role on how we should perceive exotic pets in the future. Animal emotion. Animal emotion was first proposed by Charles Darwin, both observational and scientifically. Another scientist who has really humble origins. An Estonian-American scientist who contributed to animal welfare and animal behavioral studies for his study on animal emotion, despite struggles due to the Science Society. Affective neuroscience, a name for the studies of neuromechanisms of emotions, was coined by him. Emotions has been and further researched through multiple different approaches, including behaviorism, comparative, and anecdotal. Animal welfare. 5 freedoms, which is definitely worth a mention when it comes to the topic of exotic pets, is a common idea used by many animal welfare organizations. This includes no hunger or thirst, no discomfort, free from pain, injury, or disease, free to express most normal behavior, and free from fear and distress. There are many laws in the UK that relate to exotic pets, such as the Animal Welfare Act, the Wildlife and Countryside Act, Pet Animal Act. How law plays a crucial role in benefiting the exotic pet trade and exotic pets. Illegal pet trade can be limited through law, as fines and other punishment, along with tight regulations, makes it hard to smuggle in animals and deter further illegal pet trade due to the risk involved. The UK government, thanks to its wide range and easy-to-apply licenses that regulate the import and export of live animals, as well as the keeping of these animals, allows safer practice by preventing diseases and promote more ethical trading. This can also prevent potential introduction of invasive species or animals that are potentially invasive in the UK. Highly endangered animals can also be protected through the Endangered Species Act. How law fails. Why is it so hard to track where exotic pets come from? Other than endangered pets, which organizations such as CITES that track reported illegal wildlife and cross-border task force can combat illegal shipments. Most of these non-endangered pets are simply shrugged off because they don't have a protection status, no matter what terrible condition they are in. Excessive collection due to loose regulations can also in turn threaten the wild population. In some regions where certain exotic pets are banned, treatment for those certain animals aren't the best. Many law enforcers often resort to euthanasia for banned animals if rehousing cannot be possible, which ethically definitely fare way worse compared to if they haven't been discovered. Unless if the animal is already in a suffering condition, but it is somewhat justifiable if it can prevent the natural habitat from being harmed and cause more suffering. Unfortunately, seized animals don't really get the best of treatment either. They usually will not return home. They also usually can't get the right treatment for their illness, injuries, or go to shady facilities. According to IFAW, International Fund for Animal Welfare, and National Geographic, a report from the relevant authorities in Bangkok airport busted a smuggler carrying 54 plowshare tortoises from Madagascar, which accounts to 10% of the wild population. After custody, however, 50% of them died, with the rest of them reported missing after being sent to the Animal Rescue Center. Quote, "What happened to those animals later did not generate any headlines. Fortunately, many animals are also able to find a new home after they have been seized. For example, in 2022, two severals were discovered in Norfolk in one of their residential buildings. The owner was arrested as they did not have a license to keep these big cats. They were later sent to a zoo where they can live happily after. However, there are surprisingly and funnily several more of these incidents. Get it? Several? I'm sorry. Of illegal keeping of savannah cats, a hybrid of a domestic cat and a several, by Norfolk residents, resulting in the arrest of said residents within 2022 and 2023, including a professional featherweight boxer.
And this is why I rest my case as to why exotic pets should be banned. Well, I disagree. So, you're challenging me. You bet I am. Due to high demand of many exotic pets, breeders often value profit rather than welfare, thus resulting in a loss of gene pool due to reckless breeding, such as inbreeding. This results in many sick and diseased stock. Many laws also do not prosecute or simply cannot monitor such practices. Yes, but more remote and foreign species that are once obscure can now be pushed to the public spotlight and sometimes even be scientifically described. It can even be a more effective alternative to raise awareness for these creatures. For example, there are many species of recently described aquarium fish that are common in the hobby, such as the Amander's flasher race or the red-tailed gora, and effectively contribute to science. On the topic of marine fish, have you ever considered where majority of aquarium fish come from? Most of our exotic pets come from overseas. This brings in several concerns such as introductions of new diseases or introducing a potentially invasive species. Pollutions such as carbon emissions released due to overseas shipping and hard to track origins. Many overseas countries do not have laws, nor do they have regulations on wildlife trade, thus promoting cheaper, unsustainable, less ethical, or even illegal sourcing, capture, or shipping, etc. of exotic animals, such as cyanide fishing and bird netting. For example, according to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, 80% of ornamental marine tropical fish do not survive shipping. Many species are threatened and even regionally extinct because of poaching for the pet trade. This may be true, yet again, breeding exotic pets has also saved many species from extinction. Breeding exotic pets create new and beautiful breeds that take the species a first step towards domestication. Law doesn't prevent everything. A demand fuels the industry, no matter black or white. Human ignorance cannot stop suffering. Many who don't obey these regulations find it silly. How could it be endangered when it's all over my place? Many simply want to show off their wealth and status, or view their animals as collector items. Many exotic pet keepers are also unreliable, since anyone can be one. Buying an animal is as easy as clicking websites or going to a pet shop. Lack of information is one of the main killers of many exotic pets, as people don't get to do their research and often fail to meet the requirements of their newly acquired pets. The care required for many of these animals can often be challenging and leading to negligence or releases which harm the animal furthermore. Animal abuse is also hard to track down after the buyer purchases the animal. Exotic pets incur this crime. It's one of the largest international crimes, only behind weapons, arms, drugs, and human trafficking, according to Interpol. But there are also many species saved from extinction due to public demand for these animals. Certain animals that are endangered or close to extinction are now popular and widespread amongst pet keepers due to their popular demand, such as the axolotl or the white-cloud minnow, etc. Sustainable collection of wild exotic pets can also help prevent destruction of native habitats and support local communities. Many exotic pets often come from third world countries. Many people who collect more abundant exotic pets, such as wild aquarium fish, reptiles, invertebrates, and birds, etc., can often come from low-income backgrounds and rely on the pet industry. Many business and exotic pet keepers argue that these people will turn to jobs such as timber industry and other environmentally more destructive jobs. One of these projects that are beneficial for the wild is the Piapa project, where buying fish help plant a tree. This can also help science and conservation, as many new behaviors through active care of different species, including mating and breeding behaviors, are never seen in the wild. Other more famous examples include the domestication of silver fox, where a whole new field of genetic science. In fact, why don't we look at a case where exotic pets are banned to a certain extent? For example, in Florida, a home to a wide range of exotic reptiles, many has escaped and caused severe ecological damage. Many bills are subsequently passed down to ban the ownership of these reptiles, mostly snakes. In this case, a reptile keeper has failed to meet the deadline to rehouse these animals. According to USARC, the person has sent an extension notice to the FWC, Florida Fish and Wildlife Service, as he has trouble rehousing these animals. And they responded by raiding his reptile facility with 2 officers. With both gun in head, they soon went on a killing spree after discovering banned species such as the reticulated python and Burmese python. Despite FWC reported that they did not intend to kill the animals at first. A boa constrictor, which was a legal pet in Florida, was also caught in the crossfire and was shot dead in the head. It was a decade-old pregnant female with 32 babies, each one estimated to be worth over $3,000. I feel sick defending these law enforcers who hide their trigger-happy nature with the excuse of justice and killing dozens of companion animals as if they were sport animals. We might not know how many of these unlawful incidents committed because of corruption, but these bans on exotics help eliminate further introductions while these species are being eradicated. Order, order. End of debate. Thank you for listening in.